candidates, preparing you for the August 26th vote. The Mayoral Debate from the Business Expo. It's a special presentation of Midday Mobile. The Mayoral Debate. Now with the candidates from the Arthur R. Outlaw Convention Center. Here's Sean Sullivan on FM Talk 106.5.
And welcome to the Business Expo and our Mobile Mayoral event. It's great to see everybody out here. As I made my way in today, I saw a lot of people looking at exhibits for the vendors here. At the same time, they were asking questions about Mobile politics, and it's a good thing. And I'm glad we're out here, and it's a good thing to have the person who puts it on. I mean, I have to say thank you to Chairman and CEO of the Mobile Chamber, Bradley Byrne, for having us out. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming. You're a big part of this exhibit every year. We love having you. Doing your show here. We have 212 exhibitors this year, Sean, the most ever.
That's what I'm saying. It seemed I could say it number one because I think I had to park in Midtown to get here. but I mean, it's a big turnout.
Yeah, no, we're very pleased. We're open till 3, so I hope people will come out.
Okay, tell me, like, if somebody comes out here, who are they seeing? Who are these vendors?
We've got some of everything. We've got some food vendors. We've got people that do work at your house. We've got people that will sell your house.
Yeah.
Literally, we have a little bit of everything.
All right, so open till 3 today.
3 today.
Yes,
come and bring your business card. We have drawings.
There we go. Drop your business card in and win. And come on in, too, because we're going to be doing this for the next 2 hours from now until 2 o'clock. Your chance to hear from the Mobile Mayoral candidates. And I want to get this started and introduce the Mobile Mayoral candidates and give them a chance to say hello to y'all within 2 weeks now of Election Day. We start off with the order. The order I created here was when the people declared they were running for the mayor's race. So this is my formula on this. I've explained my formula here. So we will open up with the person first to declare, Mobile Mayoral candidate, Commissioner Connie Hudson. Yeah, it's you. It's you. So it's your opening statements here.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Can everybody hear me?
They got you.
Okay. Thank you, Sean, and 106.5 for this opportunity. I am here today. I am running for mayor of Mobile because I love our city, and I am determined to do everything within my power to make sure that Mobile lives up to its greatest potential. No one will work harder than I will to help Mobile address its challenges of keeping families safe, of addressing blight and infrastructure issues, addressing mental health and homelessness, addressing public transportation and attainable and affordable housing, but also keeping Mobile's economy strong and creating job opportunities and opportunities for small businesses to succeed. To make Mobile, my goal is to make Mobile the best quality of life that we can offer all of our citizens. And to do that, we have to address those challenges, starting with public safety. You're going to have to let me know when my minute's up.
Yeah, we're real close on it, but we got you.
Okay.
We appreciate that. Next person to declare and our next Mobile mayoral candidate to hear opening statements from Spiro Chirigatis.
Thank you, Sean. My name is Spiro Chirigatis, and as a man of faith, I'm committed to telling you the truth. As a man of faith, I'm committed to loving my neighbor no matter who they are. As a man of faith, I'm committed to doing the right thing no matter what the political cost is. Y'all, when I look at Mobile is going places. When I talk to developers and business people, the secret of Mobile is out, and people want to invest in our community because they see the opportunity that lies ahead of us. They see the momentum of our city, and that's why I'm running for mayor, because I want to keep that momentum going. I want to bring my budget-minded small business approach to City Hall, because we got a lot of red tape we need to cut that stands in the way of progress. I want to employ new emerging technologies to solve age-old problems like crime and traffic. I want to bring my experience from the bench and my knowledge from the courtroom because I've seen crime. I know how it grows and festers, and I know how we can fight it. In the end, I'm looking forward to what's next for our city because I believe the future of Mobile is bright. I am all in on seeing Mobile reach its full potential, and on August 26th, I'm asking you to join me and go all in with me.
All right, thank you, Spiro. Next up here for an opening statement, former police chief of the city of Mobile, Paul Pride.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Bradley Byrne, certainly, and the Chamber for having us out here today. Listen,
Everybody up here are great people, and everybody wants the best for the city of Mobile. Certainly I do. I've invested 27 years as a law enforcement officer on the front line, not as an elected official, but as an employee pushing the mission statement of the city of Mobile. Now that I've worked my way up through the ranks, became the chief of police, we lowered crime, had the best single crime reduction year in 2023 since 1988. Listen, we talk a lot about crime. The reality is we've got to be business friendly. I certainly think the chamber and the current administration has done a lot with economic development and certainly with the growth. But I have a little different vision when it comes to that, right? We can talk about building big buildings, overextending ourselves financially, but we have to deal with the infrastructure needs, the lighting, the homeless issue, transportation, all these issues that really belong to the fundamental role of what government is. I want to work with the chamber. I want to work with the Southwest Chamber. I want to work with the Black Chamber to ensure that we're business friendly and we can keep the momentum going. But saying all of that is for naught if we do not lower crime, if people do not feel like they can work, live, and play in the city of Mobile. We've done it once. We'll do it again. I'm asking for your vote August 26th.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. And the fourth position, but we will invert these when we do closing statements. Representative Barbara Drummond.
Sean, I appreciate the opportunity, and I want to thank the chamber. And for me, I am Barbara Drummond, a native of Mobile, and I think it's so poignant that we are having this forum today at a chamber event because business is the hub by which we now are celebrating all of our bright future that's ahead of us. I am running for mayor for one reason and one reason only. I have helped to plant many of the seeds that you see that we are now celebrating all in business, but it's now time for us to incentivize us. It is time for us to look at crime, look at affordable housing, and to make our neighborhood stronger. It is time for us to build a city that our young people want to say, I want to come back to Mobile, Alabama, because this is the place where opportunities are. So on August the 26th, I want you to look at that ballot and look at Team Drummond because she has done the work, she is still doing the work, and she wants a city where all is proud of. I am proud of all of the economic things that the chamber is doing, and that's why I am so happy to be here today because it's an exciting future for Mobile. Brightness is in our future, and I am ready to carry the torch on in the mayor's office. So vote on August the 26th for Barbara Drummond.
Thank you so much. And we are here at the Chamber's event. And so therefore, I think it would be fitting that the CEO and chairman of the Mobile Chamber ask the first question of our candidates.
So for decades now, the Mobile Chamber has provided economic development services to the city and the county. It's been a great partnership. We've announced over 6,000 new jobs in the last 3.5 years. I'm just asking if you're committed to continuing that relationship and having expert professional economic developers at the Chamber serve the city.
All right, and the order here is we'll go change at each question. So first up here for this question, Barbara, you're first.
Definitely. I was there when we started the partnership. I remember the time when the chamber, the city, the county all had their own economic development departments as well as the state. And we realized that we could not be strong unless we united together and our collective ability. And I am happy because now we're looking at it as more as a regional approach. So I was there when it started, and that is the secret sauce to Mobile's future. So definitely I will continue it.
All right, thank you. Paul, you're next.
Absolutely. Listen, we'd be a fool to try to go alone when we've got such professionals, certainly like Mr. Byrne, that's got certainly the federal contacts and all the business and corporation contacts throughout the country. We have to be more than a regional competition. We've got to be competition for the world. And with the Port of Mobile, I certainly think we can do it.
All right, thank you. Connie, next.
Absolutely. I have been a part of economic development in Mobile for well over 2 decades, working with as part of a team with the Chamber, of course. We've got higher education, we've got the Port Authority, the Airport Authority, we've got the utilities, but we all come together. I think that is one thing that has made us so successful in recruiting business and industry is that we work well together. We hear it from people from industries who are looking for site selections. They tell us other communities don't work as well as you all do together. And so I am committed, have been committed for a long time. Bradley and I have worked together and certainly have been a part of all efforts that the Chamber has initiated for, like I said, almost 24 years now.
Thank you. Spiro.
Would I work with the Chamber? Absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt that Mobile would not be where it is today without the work of the Chamber. And thank you, Congressman Byrne, for leading that charge for us for so long. We need to know what our businesses need, and I think that's a great area where the Chamber comes in and helps the mayor's office, helps the city know where they can step in and help. But I want to go a step further. I want to join with the Chamber, other local stakeholders. I think we need a 20-year economic development plan. I think we need to have long-term goals. Mobile has some old issues. It's an old city. We need to have long-term goals as to where we're driving this city, especially when it comes to redeveloping our waterfront for commercial use for the average citizen, but also how are we going to continue to attract great industry like we have here now.
Thank you, Spiro, and thanks for having us out.
Look, thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for doing this, and candidates, thank you for running.
There he goes. And we'll be open, the whole event open until 3 o'clock today. All right, the next question up here, and this on the public safety realm. Big story this week, though. This is a national story. President Trump's called in the National Guard to reinforce the D.C. Police Department in an attempt to reduce crime. At a city level, would you consider calling on state law enforcement like Aaliyah to provide assistance to the Mobile Police Department as was done in Montgomery? First up, Paul.
Well, of course not. I think that's what leadership's for. If you've got strong leadership at the helm, there's absolutely no reason. If you have a natural disaster or crisis that goes beyond what the resources are locally, then we'll certainly call a lead in. But to have the president come in and take over essentially police services is absolutely ridiculous, and that falls on the local leadership. You can rest assured we reduce crime better than it's been done in 38 years. We'll continue to reduce crime, and I can assure Mobilians we will never have to call the president to reduce crime.
Go, Connie.
I would say only in a circumstance that goes beyond what our forces could handle. If we build our police department, if we build it up, and I'm all about increasing the number of law enforcement police officers because we need to get back to community-based policing. But if whatever, I can't foresee what circumstances in the future there might be, but I will never say never on anything. But, we have the National Guard. We have other forces available that can work well with the Mobile Police Department. And I can't envision any opportunity for this to happen. But, I would never say never on anything.
All right. Thank you. Spiro.
I pray I never have to. I certainly think in the middle of a natural disaster where your services are overwhelmed, some level of civil unrest that was just absolutely overwhelming our police department, I can't say that I wouldn't. I would in those circumstances, but I pray we don't face those circumstances. And in the end, I respect all of our men and women in uniform. I thank them for their service. Policing is not their primary function. We need to let our police forces and local state partners help us reduce this crime, like our federal partners and Aaliyah, but I can't see calling in the National Guard to help reduce crime.
All right, thank you, Spirit. Barbara.
I would not, because I think that the Mobile Police Department is probably one of the best in the entire country. I've seen them at work. I know what they can do. I think that we need to ramp up the numbers, but I think that we need to keep leadership locally. I know Aaliyah does a good job, but they have a level of government that they need to take care of. I think that others around the country, as well as here in the state of Alabama, I know it for a fact, they look at our police department. When we've had other issues around the state, they've called our police department. Only this week that I saw the depth and the commitment that our police department and fire department has to doing the tough work. When we had 2 people that were killed in the manhole and one that is now still in the hospital, I saw a level of commitment that I have never seen before. So I support our police department.
Barbara, thank you. And as we talk about this, many Mobile police officers are talking about adding to the Mobile Police Department, but I want to talk about retention. Many Mobile police officers leave MPD for jobs with other police departments or sheriff's offices. What would you do to retain officers that are on staff now? How much, would you change the schedule, pay, morale boosting? What would you do to retain the officers we currently have? Connie, you're first.
I think we have to look at all those factors. It comes down to compensation and benefits. I mean, that is number one. And we have to make sure that we're competitive. I know with the county commission, that's what we focused on, making sure that we're competitive, because it's important that we keep our numbers, where they should be as far as what's required for law enforcement to the manpower in the county. Same with the city. So whatever, we need to look at, it's difficult to recruit these days, and so we have to make sure that the work environment is, we may offer certain perks, whether it's education opportunities or things like that would, or even health care, additional health care benefits. But we have to be attractive, and we're competing with every other community around us, including the county. And so definitely that would be high on the list of what we need to do to be attractive.
Thank you. Spiro.
Yeah, I think maintaining competitive pay and benefits is essential. I look at programs that other cities have employed. South Fulton County in Georgia, they really saw that they wanted their officers living in the community they were policing. And so they created a program that was a down payment assistance program to actually help officers buy that first home, buy that home within Mobile in our case. I really like the sound of that program. I want our officers living here in the city and continuing to provide those education benefits and continuing to fully fund the police and fire pension program. The officers and the firemen and our servicemen need to know that they're going to be compensated for the work they did when it does come to retire.
Thank you. Barbara.
I think that I would look at their benefits package, because I think that is what we can do to retain them. But I also want to look at something for the future, because we need to rebrand the police department so that those who are out there in the community, we can reseed them to come into those professions. And I'm really happy because the police and pension fund is going to be fully solvent in 2026. That's a good thing for the city of Mobile, but I think that I want to create a pipeline in the educational system so that we can start recruiting in our own city those students who can come back into police and firefighting, and that we can bring back the honor, that they will know this is a good profession. But the benefits package, I think, is the number one.
Thank you. Paul.
Of course, this is my wheelhouse, so we've already done it. And I'll be frank with you, in 2021, we had 101 officers left at the police department. That was the largest single year of attrition rate that we had walk out the door in a 12-month period. Within 2 years under my leadership, we reduced attrition some 48%. That's huge, but the reality is it's actually a part of my strategic plan, and we address three essential things. One, leadership, communication, and fairness and equity within the department. Benefits are a big deal. There are two different premiums for insurance benefits in the rank and file since 2016. That puts a disparity and a division between the rank and file, not only in the police department, but certainly in the fire department. And then we've got to stop dividing our public safety, such as we had with the parity issue between the fire department and the police department. Essentially bringing all these things in, our retirees have not had a raise in some 20 years, okay? And that's very big, because a lot of these men and women look to come here to retire. They're not doing it for the money. They're doing it for the benefits. They're doing it for the stability. And certainly, more than everything that I've said, they want leadership that's going to back them. Sometimes even when they're wrong and the incidences are incidental, but they need that strong leadership that says this is a hard job, we're going to back you.
Hey, Paul, thank you. And we're going to have this last question here is going to be 30-second answers, just because, we have to go to a news break here in just a second. So while we're talking about, there's a lot of talk about community policing, and that falls specifically on patrol officers, right? That's who does this. They're already shorthanded inside MPD. How would you streamline the special units where a lot of these patrol officers go to? How would you put more of those officers back on patrol? First up, Spiro.
I certainly think recruiting more officers is part of that. We do need more officers in our city, certainly downtown, certainly on patrol. We need to look at all of our special units and make sure that they're they're not overstaffed, that they're not overbloated. We have to look for efficiency everywhere in government. We need officers on the street. We need officers in the neighborhoods building relationships with the citizens, with the business owners, so they feel comfortable calling on them for help. We have a ton of amazing officers in our city. I want to get them some help. I want to see more foot presence in downtown, especially at night. I don't know if we'll talk about some of the incidents lately, but we need more officers visible in our community.
Spirit, thank you, Barbara.
Well, I tend to think that even those that are in special units, all officers, when you work for the city of Mobile, especially when you are in a public servant job, you're serving a need for the city. So that's all a part of community policing. But I think that we need to increase the numbers, and then I think that we need to retool them to think that, because this is their community too. Many of them live here, their families are here. And so we need to rebrand and retool them to give them the tools that they can represent in those communities.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
Listen, the Mobile Police Department has all the tools they need to do the job. What they need is boots on the ground. We're roughly short 100 to 120 officers, and with a commitment to put them boots on the ground and patrol, then you will stove off a lot of the crime from happening, which then relieves the back pressure and the burden on the investigators. And at some point, if you continue down that trajectory, then you can start moving some of those investigators back to the field.
And Connie.
I believe it will take some reorganization. The special units were mentioned. I think we need to look at the function of those special units. Can those officers, some of them, be reassigned? But it will also take additional police officers that we'll have to hire. And I'm estimating up to 100 police officers to be able to go back and do community-based policing, which is working with intelligence-led. But we have to have police officers visible in our neighborhoods, in our parks, in public spaces, to bring confidence to citizens that public safety is doing its job. You know, I ask people everywhere I go, when was the last time you saw a police cruiser patrolling your neighborhood? And majority cannot remember when the last time was. And I think that building relationships between neighborhoods and the police department and building trust and respect is so very important. And I think it will move the needle in public safety in Mobile.
So y'all do agree that you would look at it, if elected mayor, the allocation of officers and what they do for MPD?
Yes, and it's called a workload assessment. We do it every 3 years.
Okay. All right, we are going to go to the news here shortly and come back. We are live at the Convention Center for the Mobile Business Expo, but your chance to talk to and hear from the mayoral candidates within 2 weeks of Election Day. And a lot of people still, I know it's shocking, but as I talk to people, a lot of people undecided out there. A lot of people are still, they do not know how they're going to vote on Election Day, so this is a great time. Mind you that we have another hour and a half here, so if you're listening to us right now on the radio, I welcome that, or on the Facebook feed, but you can come here to the Mobile Convention Center and see it go down in person. When we come back, too, we talked about government. I want to talk about the size of government, so be thinking that. That's like the tease going into the news break, the size of government, and is it right? We'll ask that of our candidates when we come back. This is our coverage of the Mobile Mayoral Forum from the Convention Center right here on FM Talk 106.5.
The mayoral debates continue on FM Talk 106.5. Now, live from the Business Expo at the Arthur R. Outlaw Convention Center, here's Sean Sullivan.
And welcome back to the Mobile Mayoral Forum live from the Convention Center. For the next hour and change here, we'll be talking to the four that would like to be the next mayor of Mobile. Reminder, too, if you're listening on the radio, we appreciate that, or on the live stream or on Facebook. But in addition, you can come here in person at the convention center. I think it's, what did Bradley Burns say, $5 with your business card. Come on in and be part of it in person. So we talked about public safety, and, of course, that drives a lot of the conversation, has so far in this. But I want to also talk about the size of government overall, city government overall. This question here, do you feel the administrative staff for the city of Mobile is the right size, too big, or not big enough? And if you think it's too big, give me an idea of where you would cut. Barbara, you're first.
I met with the finance director and I asked for that very same question. He has not given me that number, but as I understand, I've been at the city before, and I covered one area. I had a staff of 2 of us. I understand there are 10 of us that are now in the communications department. So I would start cutting a lot of those administrative staff members that are appointed.
All right, thank you. Connie, you're next.
Well, I don't want to threaten anybody's job today, but I would say that there definitely needs to be consolidation. I think it is top heavy as far as administration. I think that certainly can be streamlined. I have some ideas there, but I think that we need a lot more people that are getting the job done, as opposed to people that more Indians than chiefs, I guess, right, at this point. And I see the opportunity to make that happen.
All right, Spiro.
I don't think I'm in a position to give a good, honest assessment of that. I want to get in there and see that. And I know some of the people working in the city. I don't think it's fair to think we can run a city with 2,100 employees and a $300 million plus budget on the same staff that we had in 1980 or 1990. I think we need to be efficient as a city. I'm a small businessman. You have to constantly reevaluate if you're being efficient and if you're getting the most bang for your buck. So if the people, I'm praying, see fit to make me their next mayor, the next 2 months will be assessing and evaluating that very question.
All right, thank you, Paul.
Absolutely. I have a conservative approach when it comes to being top-heavy in government. The mayor's administration has grown almost 100% in the last 4.5, maybe 5 years. And it's not to say that maybe we're going to just go in here and slice jobs, right? But the vast majority of those in the upper level management are making more than $130,000 a year. And my thoughts are we have to be a good steward of the people's money, and we certainly have to do more with less. And we need to find out who's really doing the job, who's not doing the job, and then make the appropriate cuts. And while that may be hard, that's real leadership.
All right, I appreciate that. Next, we'll talk about some infrastructure items, but this one also about the Mobile Housing Board, because we talk about where folks live and getting people to live in the city of Mobile. And so when you look at the Mobile Housing Board over the last, let's say, decade, just from my perspective, there's been problems with inefficiency, leadership failures. What is your vision for the Housing Board, and how would you ensure that your nominee, who you would nominate to run MHA, implements that vision? First, Paul. There we go. Get your mic up here.
You got to have strong leadership. I don't necessarily know what all the internal issues are, but we've gotten rid of all the affordable housing stock, and I'm certainly sure there's a plan with that. But the reality of it is now we've created a problem in the city, and in my opinion, you look at R.V. Taylor, Thomas James, Happy Hills, Roger Williams. Why did we get rid of these places only for these to be green spaces? And so, there are some internal issues that we have to deal with, but we've got to get back to trying to figure out how are we going to take care of those that are less fortunate.
Yeah, and I'll give you a second more here, but, I mean, you would have the nominee. How would you hold them to account to your vision on that?
Well, so I think the mayor has to give his vision for the entire staff to say, this is the vision, this is where Mobile is going, and how do you complement that? Accountability is the problem that we're lacking in government, and that when we give the directives, we don't do the follow-up. And make no mistake, success is always in the follow-up, it's not in the command.
Thank you, Paul. Spiro.
I think the housing authority has to be connected to our city, right? And I say that because I attended the MHA's Back to School Bash at 1010 Baltimore Street last week, and talking with William Ray, who's a board member over there. Up until recently, the CFO and COO, Chief Financial Officer and Chief Operating Officer, neither of them lived in Mobile. Neither of them were even in town. They never toured regularly our housing authority property. We got to make sure that the people who are running our housing authority are very much connected with our city and connected with the needs of our city. So that'll be step one, to make sure that we fill those roles with people who actually live and work here in Mobile.
So that would be your first thing, that they would have to be a resident of Mobile in that position. Yes. All right, Barbara.
I want that person first to have compassion for those that live in affordable housing. As aforementioned, we have very little affordable housing in the city of Mobile. So first, I want the person not only to have compassion, but understand the city, because there's a value there. Those are the individuals who will be our workforce. Those are the individuals who will stimulate our educational system. And then the second thing I want this person to do and to commit to is that we will do a master plan for the city of Mobile on affordable housing. There's a lot of blight in our city that I think, going along with our history, that we can go and revitalize many of those neighborhoods that used to have public housing in them that are now blighted, that we can use. So first, I want them to have compassion. I want them to commit to a master plan for the entire city. And then I want them to also commit to working with the city of Mobile on all of the federal dollars that are coming into our community.
Thank you. And Connie.
It definitely boils down to accountability. There has to be a long-term plan, and the Housing Board has to be held accountable for making sure that plan is executed. The Housing Board and the city have to work hand in glove in that respect, because that is the arm that the city uses to conduct those programs, and we need to make sure that they're successful and that they're serving the citizens, the most vulnerable citizens certainly out there, who need and deserve to have these opportunities and services.
Thank you. While we're talking about, let's talk about blight. And think about this, coming into the first term for Mayor Stimson, it was discussed many times about the blight in our city. He talked about it back then. Here we sit in 2025, and removing blighted properties is still something we're talking about all these years later. What is a plan for mitigating this? I mean, I don't expect anybody overnight to eliminate all the blighted, but a plan. You talked about it, Barbara, you talked about a master plan, but a plan that would remove, like we do this, A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3 to get rid of the blight problem for Mobile. Spiro, you're first.
I think public-private partnerships are the best way to maximize public dollars. I'm thrilled that Mobile was awarded the 4 grants from the state of Alabama this year to look at affordable housing. We want to create markets within our struggling neighborhoods. Most of our struggling neighborhoods are historic neighborhoods. And so you can attack the blight issue through critical repair programs, down payment assistance programs, housing improvement programs, but oftentimes it's such a heavy lift. You have to be able to create an alternate revenue stream, and that's why I do talk about TIF districts, tax incremental financing districts, that create a separate source of funding that goes directly back into the neighborhood you're trying to serve. As that neighborhood continues to grow in value, that money goes directly into a pot that can only be used for that TIF district. So I see it as a crucial way to really fight blight in our community.
All right, thank you. Paul, you're next.
Listen, that's always been a problem. I think currently the administration is sitting over 100 blighted homes right now waiting for a developer to pick them up and build them out. You know, it is said that they're reserved for certain contractors. I couldn't tell you if they are or they're not. But I think the next mayor, and certainly that would be me, I hope, is to be able to streamline that process, even with the properties we already have, to get those properties out there to some developers, get them out there. But listen, we can revitalize any of these neighborhoods. But if we do not control crime in these neighborhoods, all we've done is spend money for absolutely nothing. I'll give you a prime example. We did it over there on what is normally called the Avenue, but certainly Dr. King right there at Broad Street. And 30 years ago, we did a revitalization problem, but we never addressed the crime problem. And now you go back to that area, and it is completely ran down, and we did absolutely nothing.
Connie, you're next.
There are 3 tools that I see that the city can use to address blight. One, we have property owners with blighted properties that the properties are not living up to safety codes. They have to be held accountable to safety codes, and the property owners have to be held responsible for that, and or be penalized. If we have properties that are vacant, dilapidated, and tax delinquent, we don't know who the property owners are, then the city can take quiet title action and gain marketable title of those properties, work with developers in a public-private partnership to turn those into residential properties or commercial, and put them back on the city's tax rolls and make them beneficial to the city. The city also has a Department of Neighborhood Revitalization, because there are property owners who would like to make improvements, but they just can't afford it. So then there's some grant funding available to make that happen, to help those.
All right. Thank you, Connie. Barbara.
You know, I'm probably one of the only few that's actually, Sean, that has helped to start that process with the city of Mobile. I actually got passed in the legislature laws that would help lessen the time that the city can go and deem a properly condemned. We just passed the scrap tire law. And I wanted to say that when you look at trying to look at the blighted property, not only do we need an inventory, but we need to look back and look at the process by which small business developers who would go in and develop those neighborhoods and fix those properties up, we need to take away some of the bureaucracy. I have sat down with the Home Builders Association and the development community, and many of them are telling me the process is just too long to be able to get building permits, electrical permits, and plumbing permits. So the bureaucracy, the process has already started. I quite frankly think that Mobile is on a good track as it relates to dealing with the properties. Now we need to start holding those responsible who are causing the blight.
Thank you, Barbara. Well, this will be perfect. This timing into the next question here. It's weekly in doing what I do. I hear complaints from people, whether they're calling in or texting at the radio station or emailing me, about the permitting process for small businesses in Mobile. This is another one that I thought about when Sandy Simpson came in as mayor. Blight and permitting process, these were things we were talking about all those years ago, and I know there's been efforts here, but here in 2025, I hear the same things and the same issues out there. So I'm going to ask y'all, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's happening? Why does this continue to be a problem for the city? And how are you going to fix it? That's the big question. Barbara, you're first.
Well, you know, after meeting with that community, from the developers to the home builders, I think the whole process needs to be just blown up and we start all over again, because their voice is not being heard. That's what I was told, that they don't even have a voice in the process. I had one developer who has bought a beautiful piece of property on Dolphin Street 2 years ago. He still does not have a building permit, and he's dealing with multiple departments and multiple people within the agency. And he says, as soon as I get used to one person, it changes and it goes to another person. So I think that entire process needs to be revamped and reorganized to make it customer friendly to those who are going to be doing the work. We need to take out all of that bureaucracy. It still needs to be safe. They need to meet building codes and all the other codes that are associated. But we need to just do the whole process all over again and give that community a voice into the process.
Thank you, Barbara. Paul, you're next.
Listen, fantastic. And I think Barbara's absolutely right. I know a gentleman here that bought an established restaurant to renovate it and it took him 2.5 years to get it. But it really depends on the contractor, right? If they're within the current administration's framework or network, they get what they want. It's ironic that we built or committed to building a $300 million facility on the Civic Center, and that permitting process lasted literally for 30 days. I've already committed to the chamber and said that we would put a one-stop shop together. While we know that it's not all done at City Hall, there are some things done with the fire department and the Board of Health. It needs to be a one-stop shop. There's an online system, but there's no reason when a developer or a business person goes to City Hall that they're met with discontent, they're met with employees that cannot give them answers, and I think the follow-up is the key, and that's real leadership, and that's my commitment.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Connie, you're next.
The problem is bureaucracy, too much bureaucracy in the process. It has to be streamlined. We've done it on the county side. We don't get the same kind of complaints that the city does. And 24 years ago, I started hearing those complaints when I first ran for city council that something needed to be done. The home builders were complaining bitterly about it. And during this process, going back and talking with them again during this campaign, they are still complaining bitterly about it. It is not that difficult. This isn't rocket science. We can fix this. This is a matter of streamlining the process and making sure that you don't have so much bureaucracy that things get lost in the process.
Thank you. And Spiro.
I think we need to cut out the runaround. You know, the truth is a lot of files go to the city and they get lost on someone's desk and they have to travel through multiple departments. And when a builder, a developer, or just a citizen calls, they get we don't have it. We don't know where it's at. We need to create a single point of contact. This is something that other cities have done. Call it an ombudsman, call it a concierge. But your file, your building application, your permits need to stay with one person, and that be your point of contact throughout the process. I think we need to look at getting our inspectors the education to make them multidisciplinary. We need to get government running on private business time. It's hard to go set up 6 different inspections for a business owner. We need one. We need one with fire and one with the city. We can get that. There are a lot of other jurisdictions that do that. That's something that is a realistic goal for me. But having that single point of contact so you're not getting lost on somebody's desk for 3 weeks.
Thank you, Spiro. And I'll just say this while I have one of y'all will be the next mayor of Mobile. I have y'all all listening. Yeah, the question that has come up in discussion on my show over time has just been, why can't you get everybody into one room? I'm not asking everybody to answer this, but I'm just having y'all here. Get everybody who's in that process in one room and said, where's the breakdown? You know, and I know that's overly simplified, but I've been talking about this for decades here and talking to so many listeners that they are just very, very frustrated. All right, next about workforce development. We've talked about that some. Do you feel, and not just, I'll ask it this way, do you feel the city is doing enough in workforce development? My question is, maybe their energy is there, but it's not focused in the right place, or maybe you think it's focused in the right place because there's opportunities. Heck, we're here. I've had Bradley Byrne on my show many times. He says, we're coming online for 1,100 jobs next year or 1,200. And he said, we're having to fill them with people that aren't from here. And I'm a homer. I want to fill with Mobilians, people from here. So those jobs aren't getting filled with Mobilians. What's happening? Where's the breakdown on this? Barbara, you're first.
Well, I think that there was a breakdown initially. Just like we said, it can't be built overnight. But I think that Mobile now is on the right track. We now have all of those signature academies in our school systems, from Williamson Training, welders for Austell, from BC Rain doing aerospace to the healthcare industry, and so on and so on. And then we talk about Bishop State, which was one time lacking, but now it's not. I am proud because we built the manufacturing center, and now industry now has respect for the 2-year college system. So I think that, and then you look at Excel, which is one of the charter schools, which I help fund that program. We now are training 18 to 24-year-olds. So I think that what we're doing now is catching up, but I do think that we're on the right track. We're creating those workforce development models to go into the school systems and into the community. So I think if you look at us now in 5 years, you will say we've got it right.
Barbara, thank you. Paul, you're next.
I don't think we're on the right track. We've got some great signature schools with Mobile County, and it's not to say that they're not doing a great job. My personal opinion is they work in silos. That means we do not work together. You've often heard me talk about the workforce development program, which is why the $60 million budding steel industry decided to go over there. We talk about workforce development, but the average median income in Alabama is $56,000 a year, and everybody brags about all the jobs that are coming to Mobile, but the reality is $56,000 a year. Think about that. We've got to educate our high schoolers upon graduation to be able to take some of these entry-level jobs, make upwards of $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year. We're not doing it, but I also think that we could do it with the 2-year program with Bishop State, just like they're doing it over there in Baldwin County, and that's going to be a win for Mobile.
Paul, thank you. Connie, you're next.
I think we are on the right track. We just need to expand that track. I think there are many opportunities for the city to step forward, working with business and industry on on apprenticeships and opportunities for young people, creating pipelines from all the way from middle school, high school, and technical training opportunities. And those are the things that we need to look at doing to give our young people those opportunities. But right now we're having to recruit people from outside of the Mobile area to fill these jobs. We've done a great job recruiting business and industry and a lot of jobs, but we don't have enough bodies right now to fill those jobs. So it's continuing to work organically through our pipelines with our high schools and feeding those through the technical training systems, but also recruiting people in and bringing people into Mobile. We need to bring people back.
Thank you. Spiro.
Yeah, a little feedback. Absolutely. I think going forward, workforce development over the next 10 years, it's the biggest economic development issue we're going to face. We can only attract industry so long as we can fulfill their needs for employees. I would love to see Mobile County invest in a trade academy. We have the modules within our high school that I am very excited about. They're fantastic. Bishop State's doing good things. It's fantastic. We need to expand it, but really where I see the holdup is we need more kids coming through our school system desiring to seek out that education. We need to change the narrative that college is the only pathway to wealth. That's not true. I'm not sure it ever was, but it certainly is not true now. We need to make sure that we're highlighting our industry, the actual wealth and growth opportunities it provides. We need to change the narrative within our school system, with our counselors, with our teachers, and guide more kids to the services we have as we expand them.
Spiro, thank you. Yeah, and just as, once again, having the opportunity to have the four of y'all, one of you will be the next mayor of Mobile here, so me just to go on. If there was any way just to go into school, so I'm thinking back when I was 17 years old, and you talk about the number, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. If somebody had just walked in and say, hey, and I'll use a technical term here, this is me, it's not the candidates, hey, knuckleheads, you want to make $70,000 a year, you make $80,000 a year, you'd have gotten my attention. Even beyond the training, if you check these boxes and do these things, young people, you're going to make that kind of money. Just talk to them in the language I would understand as a 17-year-old. That's just throwing it in the mix. All right. Next in the list here, public transportation. And I'm going to just ask this plainly. First of all, should Mobile even provide public transportation at all? And that answer is yes. Then at what level? And what's your plan to make it efficient? First up, Spiro.
Thank you. This is a topic I love. I think we have to provide public transportation. There are many Mobilians that's their only reliable source of transportation, period. 31% of the people not working in our city say it's because they lack reliable transportation. The only way, we can't just throw money at the problem endlessly. That doesn't work. We have to make a system that is both convenient and reliable. The only way public transportation will succeed is if it's an option for everybody, whether they have their own car or not. That's why I look at trolleys. I've drawn out a map with highlighter and routes, something that will be fun, convenient, something that you don't have to wait an hour and a half in the sun waiting on your bus to hopefully come. Something that if you walk out to any of our main thoroughfares, within the next 20 to 30 minutes, a trolley is going to pass by heading in the direction you're going. We can do that. We can make that a reality in Mobile, and I hope after my administration, should I be lucky enough to have one, people will not think about Mobile without thinking of our public transportation.
Spiro, thank you. Barbara, you are next.
I think that public transportation is definitely a must in any city because it not only defines the city, we need to change our attitude not only for the workforce, but also for Mobile is a historic city. And once we build this history to become an ecotourism, we need to have transportation for those folks to get to the various points. I think that we need to relook at who we give our dollars to, whoever that third party is, to make sure that they're meeting all of the criterias that we need for public transportation. Right now, we only think forward for the workforce, but I think it needs to be viable for the city as a whole.
Thank you. Paul.
I think transportation is definitely needed, certainly for the underprivileged, underserved in Mobile, even though most people in Mobile, I think, have a vehicle. But, when it comes to the downtown and certainly when it comes to the historic district, trolleys are great, right? But it doesn't address the whole problem within the entire city. And we know from last year, because of the situation, that we gave $10 million to the wave system only to receive $1.25 million back. I think we can scale that back a little bit, certainly, and try to find a way for the private market to come in and fulfill some of this. That's just one example, but you could use Uber, Lyft, or maybe even allow some of these drivers with the wave system to open their own transportation business. But I think it's a must to kind of reevaluate where we're at. And I'm also not opposed to going out to places like Disney World, Orlando, people that have the expertise to move large amounts of people in the most efficient way, and I'm dedicated to doing that.
Well, thank you, Connie.
I think we definitely need public transportation, and we need to make it accessible. The first thing we need to do is to develop a long-term, comprehensive, cost-efficient plan to go forward to address the needs of the community, and that's going to include a combination of different types of transportation services, whether it's fixed route with the big buses on the high demand areas, make those more frequent, with the lower demand areas, smaller vehicles, even micro-transit ride share, which is an on-demand service. So I see a combination of all these different types of transportation that we will make work for the community, but we have to make it accessible for the people who need it.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to head to the news here, but we're coming back next hour, another hour of your questions, because I have many questions from the listeners that have been emailed into me. We'll mix those in hour number 2 of our mayoral event right here at the Mobile Convention Center during the Business Expo with FM Talk 106.5. We'll be back.